It's been 2 weeks since my last pet pairing and I'm kind of longing for one. I did forget to turn on the camera, so I already have my eyeshadow primer and my brows on, and I'm just going to continue applying the rest of my makeup. As usual, chatty get ready with me style. I'm going to take strobe from MAC to apply underneath my eyes to illuminate there. So yesterday we finished watching 1899, which is, if you're not familiar, the new show by the creators of Dark. I think I've spoken about Dark before. Dark is like maybe my favorite show ever, all time. You know, I can't think of a TV show that I have enjoyed more. I've enjoyed a lot of TV shows in my life, but Dark is somewhere up there with my absolute favorites, cult classics, things that I like to rewatch when November strikes and it's moody and gloomy outside, and I'm definitely going to be rewatching it this week. The creators of Dark made a new show, which is called 1899, which finally released a couple of days ago. And because Hubs and I are professional binge watchers, we already finished it. In all fairness, it's only 8 episodes, but we also binged through it quite quickly. I'm going to make my little concoction with the NYX Bear With Me serum and the Lancome Teint Idol concealer. And honestly, you guys, we really enjoyed it. I don't know, I don't want to give away too many spoilers because the show just came out and I don't want to give too much away. For those of you who haven't watched it and still want to see it and don't want anything to be spoiled, because if you have seen Dark, you know what type of show a little bit to expect, but if you haven't, you should expect like a mystery sci-fi sort of drama. It's very difficult to put this show in a genre, but I would say mystery sci-fi would be the best and the closest, you know, description of what this show thematically is about. The stories of the two shows are entirely different. I feel less bad about spoiling Dark because you've had like multiple years now to catch up on Dark. Dark is an incredible show. One thing I will say is I think their TV shows, I don't think they are for everyone. If you like light shows where you don't have to think too hard or you don't have to pay attention too closely, then you're not going to like what Bo and Janče, the creators, are doing, because Dark and now 1899 are the type of shows where you literally have to pay attention every single second, because you blink and you miss an important detail in the story, and they're not the kind of storytellers who spoon feed you, you know, the clues and what the story is about and where the story is going. They're concealing it so well that you have to like go and rewatch scenes or episodes in order to catch the minutest, teeniest, tiniest little details that might give you a clue of what's going on. I'm going to take this MAC foundation, the Studio Water Weight, that I bought last year to dupe the Estee Lauder Double Wear Nude Foundation, and I bought it with the idea that I'm going to start using it as soon as I finish the Estee Lauder foundation. I was very happy to have found a dupe of that foundation because it was one of my favorite like lightweight luminous foundations, and I was so sad when Estee Lauder discontinued it. And I'm only able to start using this one now because it took me that long to finish the Estee Lauder one. I really don't know how people finish foundations so quickly. It takes me forever to finish foundations. Anyway, I'm going to dip back into this foundation, and I'm very excited for that because I remember it being a really good foundation and also a really good match skin tone wise for me. Oh yeah, before I do that though, I'm just going to pop on a little bit of the Becca Evermatte Poreless Priming Filter here on my cheeks to fill up my pores a bit. So just like with Dark, 1899 basically strikes all the chords for me because it has all the elements that I liked so much in Dark, but then on a completely different, in a completely different story. The show is once again like the backdrop of their shows is always like this gloomy, heavy, you know, dark setup. So if you're not into that, you're probably also not going to like Dark and 1899, but because both of them have that kind of like heavy weighing backdrop of where the story takes place. Obviously all the characters are miserable, just like with Dark. Everyone in this show is also miserable. I don't think that I'm giving away too many spoilers. Hopefully I'm not. And again, what I really like about these guys, Bo and Janče, and what I think they do really well is that they take concepts from science and maybe more abstract concepts from science, and then they build an emotional story around that. For example, with Dark, the story was centered around a quantum entanglement, and they managed to work a concept like this into a phenomenal story, carried out for 3 seasons and have it, you know, make sense, not be too long, not be too short. FYI, I still really like this foundation. It is just really such a nice, lightweight, you know, slightly luminous finish on the skin. It's not too heavy, and I hope that it holds up really well throughout the day. I'm going to take the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Filter. That one is always a mouthful for me to say. So they just, you know, they strike all the chords for me, and this new show that they made is just as good as Dark was. And I'm just very, very excited to see where they're going to take it, because there will be a season 2. To be honest with you, I kind of expected from episode 1 that this is probably going to be one of their like multiple season gig stories. So I wasn't really expecting this story to wrap up in the 8 episodes that have been released. I was expecting this story to be more epic than that. I haven't used my Milk bronzer in a really long time, at least not on my channel, so let's dip back into that one. One thing I will say is that I had the feeling that this story was even more convoluted than the one from Dark. And don't get me wrong, it's not like from season 1 you could predict what the ending of season 3 would be when it comes to Dark and how the story was unfolding. But I feel like by the end of episode 3 in season 1, you already could catch like a little glimpse of where this is going, whereas with 1899, we were, I think yesterday when we started watching the last 3 episodes, I was still like, I have no clue what is going on. My mind is completely blown. I have no idea where the story is going. I have some, you know, suggestions about what I think is happening based on like little clues that they've left here and there. And the absolute biggest clue, Hubs and I completely missed. I would never have, you know, caught that if it wasn't for Reddit. People on Reddit are extremely dedicated. They rewatch these episodes and like probably on like slow speed on something so that they can detect the tiniest, minutest little details. But yeah, towards like the later episodes, they explain things a little bit more. But prior to that, it was like, for my blush and highlight today, I'm going to grab this old limited edition release from MAC in their mineralized skin finish. Is that the... no, that's the extra dimension skin finish. I always mix them up. So this is not something that you can get anymore, but it's a beautiful formula. It's like that gorgeous baked gelée. It's, I think, one of the first instances of a face powder that I tried in this formula, and after that I was hooked and I wanted everything that is baked gelée to go on my face. And this is still a solid formula, so if you are, you know, looking for something like this from a like easy to get brand, because I think MAC is quite accessible to most people, then go for MAC. They might not have this specific product, but you can find those extra dimension blushes in their lineup. So have any of you watched 1899 already? Are you fans of Dark? Are you fans of 1899 as well? What did you think of the 2 shows? Do you have a preference for one over the other? I know that's a lot of questions, but you know, I'm just really curious whether there are, you know, fellow fans of Dark out there. I'm going to grab the highlighter now, which is their infamous Whisper of Guilt. I am impatiently waiting for that chick to send me the kit from McGrath because she still hasn't shipped it. And by the way, in the end I contacted her to ask if the kit really is new, because I noticed that the photo she had placed on Vinted was one that was taken off the internet. But she confirmed that the kit is new and unopened, and obviously because it's new and unopened, she had to put something from the internet in order to indicate what's inside. So I was very relieved about that. I think that's relatively close, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the eyeshadow look that we're doing today. We're going for brown, you guys, because I actually really want to dip back into the Bronze Bliss Quint. and I would like to use this beautiful shade over here somehow on my lids today. But I don't want to like just stick to this quint, I want to pair it with something, and for that I'm going to take a old limited edition release palette. This is one of the Bliss Astral quads that was released in 2019. This is iconic Illumination. A lot of people on YouTube will have you believe that this is one of the worst products that Pat has ever released and it's a total dud. And I wholeheartedly disagree, to be honest with you, and this just goes to show how different people's tastes can be when it comes to makeup. I actually really love iconic Illumination. The only shade in here that I'm not super crazy about is this like berry red, just because it's a beautiful shade, but like how often do I really wear a berry red? These other three shades, perfection. This astral here, one of my absolute favorite astrals that Pat has ever made. So for today's look we're going to be pairing the two, and I am going to actually start off the look with a statuesque through my crease. Then I want to apply this deep brown Blitz shade over here, like in the outer portion of my eye, to like sort of as a base and to intensify the outer corners. And then I want to apply the brown shade from Bronze Bliss, so this one over top of that and like on most of my lid. And then I'm going to dip back into the iconic Illumination quad and apply this gorgeous shade over here with like neutrally bronzy type of shade on like the inner portion of my lids. And then I'm probably going to do maybe the inner corner highlight from Bronze Bliss, and I somehow want to incorporate a little bit of that astral sparkle here into the look. But you know, the gist of it is we're going for brown today. Very exciting. I'm going to take Statuesque. Also, I cannot for the life of me remember what I was rambling about before I told you what we were going to do for a look. I don't know if we were still talking about dark and 1899 or we had switched to a different topic, so you will excuse me. I'm just a rambly mess. Oh, it just hit me. I was talking about the chick on Vinted who hasn't shipped my kit yet, and then I was going to tell you that in fact I found another kit from that time. It was just recently put on Vinted. It is the Metamorphosis 005 Everything kit, which basically contains like this combination of cream and baked eyeshadows in like bronze, copper, gold and silver, I want to say. And there are some other things in the kit, I think, but I'm not really quite sure. She's offering it for a relatively good price, but I'm being cheeky and trying to like lower the price. And I asked if she would be willing to sell it for a little bit less. Just to tell you, I'm taking this shade now into my outer corner. But she didn't respond, which makes me think that she's really hoping to sell it for the price that she's asking for it. And it's possible that she will, but I don't know how badly I want it. Is it really irrational of me to want that kit, or is it really worth it? Do any of you have that kit? And considering that I have pretty much most of Pat's eyeshadows, do you think that this kit would be something worth having? Should I get it or should I skip on it? Because also the matter of fact is that even if these kits are sealed and new, they are already quite a number of years old. Yes, they're limited edition, they're no longer available, but let's face it, until you open the product you don't know whether it's actually still in good condition, and it is without a doubt already like 5 years old, more than 5 years old. I think these kits were released in not even 2017, maybe it was even 2016, so they're like quite a number of years old, all things considered. And I don't consider myself a crazy pet collector, but recently I've had the urge to obtain those kits, mostly because I'm just so freaked out that she's phasing out the baked formula, and I want to scratch the itch of having as many of Pat's baked eyeshadows as possible. So, and since I'm, you know, kind of like negotiating for pennies there, if you guys think that this is a worthy purchase, then I'm just going to go and buy it for the price that she's asking for it. But if you think that it's nothing that I need in my collection and it will be very redundant with a lot of the things I already own from Pat, then I will try to chill and I will back off. Next I'm going to take the Intensifies eyeshadow stick from Pat, and I'm going to apply a bunch of that here all over my lid. and onto my inner corners. And I'm also going to pop a little bit over the brown that we put down for from Iconic Illumination. Next I'm going to grab a brush and take this beautiful brown shade here from Bronze Bliss, which has a ton of gold looking sparkle, and I think is going to be a beautiful pairing with the deeper brown from Iconic Illumination. Oh yes, I think they look really, really pretty together. Really, really pretty shade. I've worn it already a couple of times, but I think this may be the best way I've worn it so far, with like something that's in a very similar tone but slightly deeper. It's the kind of eyeshadow that, by the way, you can apply as a one and done because it blends out really, really nicely. Next I'm going to clean off my brush and use it to apply this shade on the inner portion of my lid. This is maybe a little bit too orange leaning for the rest of my lid, so I am going to be topping it off with that Astral, because I think the Astral is going to tone down a little bit that orange hue, because I think the orange hue is not my favorite with this eyeshadow. I'm going to clean off the brush and go into the Astral shade now and just press that here over top of that bronzy orange shade to make it a little bit cooler in tone. I'm going to take this shade here for my inner corners, just going to slightly clean off that brush from Sonia G, and go into this shade for my inner corners. It is a really, really beautiful, you know, sort of cooler toned champagne, very, very reflective. I think it looks really pretty in the inner corners. I'm starting to think that orangey shade from Iconic Illumination was not the best choice with this look, because it's kind of creating a little bit of a disbalance here between the tones that I was going for, but we'll just roll with it. Again, I'm going to pop a little bit of that Astral from Pat, in this case to warm up the inner corner highlight from Bronze Bliss, because that one turned out to be a little bit too cool toned. Well, it will all be fine, okay, I promise. And if it's not, it comes off in the end of the day. Finally, I'm going to take a little bit more of Pat's Intensifies stick, and I'm going to shove that here on my lower lashes. And I am sort of going to repeat what I did on my upper lashes, in the sense that I will apply the tiniest bit of the Blitz shade on the very outer edge of the eye here, just to marry it with the upper lash. But then I want to apply the beautiful brown from Bronze Bliss on the rest. It's becoming a bit of a thing to show you the sparkles in the eyeshadow, so here we are, shining an artificial light. I think especially it's really nice to see the sparkles in the bronze shade from Bronze Bliss, that like brownie shade from Bronze Bliss, because I think it has really beautiful sparkle on it. You can put just about any lipstick with this eyeshadow look and everything will go. I think also a red lipstick would have been really stunning with this look, especially because of my beigey looking sweater. But instead today I chose for Flash 5 from Pat McGrath, because I wanted to be reminded of why I didn't purchase Enchantment from Lisa Eldridge. I don't think they're the same color, but at the same time I think they're far too close for me to need to own both, and I recently purchased Flash 5, so I really do not need Enchantment from Lisa Eldridge. Enchantment from Lisa Eldridge is a little bit more red, this one is a bit deeper and a bit more brown terracotta. But with that said, I think on the lips they're going to look so similar that I will end up duping myself. So all in all, I'm happy that Flash 5 can come in and scratch that itch. Do let me know what you thought about this look. I think there's a little bit of disbalance here in the tones because of that like orangey bronzy shade that I put from the Iconic Illumination quad, but overall I quite like the look. It's like a very sultry brown smoky eye. Do let me know what you thought about it. As usual, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!